March 3, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Ohio State defensive lineman Nick Bosa, DL25, goes through workout drills during the 2019 NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mandatory credit, Brian Spurlock. USA Today Sports. Brian Spurlock, Bent, TheJetsBlog.com. Follow on Twitter. With the draft less than a month away, the Jets have yet to adequately address every need. It's widely considered that their biggest needs are edge rusher, cornerback, and center. In each case, the Jets resigned a free agent from last year's team, but would surely hope to be able to find a better long-term option than Brandon Copeland, Darrell Roberts and Jonathan Harrison. Let's identify some potential candidates they could target to fill these needs with their first 3 picks in next month's NFL Draft. First pick, edge, Nick Bosa, Ohio State. If Bosa doesn't get taken with either of the first 2 picks, the Jets would have to be tempted to take him despite their desire to trade down for more draft capital. Bosa has some durability concerns and only played in 3 games last year, although he racked up 4 sacks. His success comes from his flawless pass rushing technique, which gives him a chance to be productive as soon as he enters the league. If Bosa is off the board by the time the Jets pick, Kentucky's Josh Allen could be a possibility instead. Cornerback, Greedy Williams, LSU. No cornerback in this draft is worthy of the 3rd pick, but if the Jets trade back, they might find themselves in position to draft Williams, who is regarded by many as the top cornerback prospect. Williams only allowed a 40% catch rate last season and ran a 4.37 40-yard dash at the Combine. With 8 interceptions in 2 years, the Jets could target another LSU defensive back to start as a rookie. Center, Garrett Bradbury, North Carolina State. After a dazzling display at the Combine, Bradbury is widely regarded as the top center prospect and could be an option in the mid to late first if the Jets move back. His athleticism and ability to block on the move are the kind of attributes an offense can build its running game around. Second pick, edge, Oshane Ximines, Old Dominion. The Jets' second pick is early in the 3rd round at 68, and Ximines is a player who could still be available there. He's a talented pass rusher who improved his sack total in each of his 4 full seasons at Old Dominion, highlighted by a career high of 11.5 in his senior year. Ximines may be raw and hasn't played much against top competition, but he could provide a boost as a situational rusher in the early going. Cornerback, Julian Love, Notre Dame. Love is a player who looks smooth and fluid on film and possesses excellent ball skills. In 2018, he gave up just 1 touchdown in coverage despite being targeted more than most of the top prospects and was only penalized twice. He also showed his playmaking abilities with 2 pick sixes in 2017. Center, Elgton Jenkins, Mississippi State. Jenkins is another center experts believe could come in and start as a rookie. He's bigger than Bradbury, which could appeal to Adam Gase, who likes his interior linemen to be strong at the point of attack so the quarterback has clean pockets to throw from. Jenkins might not fall to 68, but if the Jets can pick up a 2nd rounder by moving down, they would have a chance to ensure they get him. 3rd pick, edge, Christian Miller, Alabama. Miller, who has good length and athleticism, broke out with 8 sacks last year. That's a number made all the more impressive by the fact that he played less than 500 snaps because he was employed in a rotation with so many other talented players in Alabama's front 7. If he could be similarly productive in a situational role, perhaps he can develop into a future starter. Cornerback, Justin Layne, Michigan State. Layne's size and length will appeal to teams and he's a good athlete. However, he also put together some good coverage numbers last year as he gave up less than 5 yards per target despite being thrown at even more than Love was. Center, Connor McGovern, Penn State. McGovern is a center prospect that some people have overlooked because he mostly played guard last year. However, he started every game at center in 2017, and did a solid all-round job. Like Jenkins, McGovern has good size so could be a good fit for what Gase might be looking for. Conclusions: if the Jets can come away with some combination of the players identified, that will be an optimal use of their resources. And if those players pan out, then perhaps these can be positions they won't need to worry about for the next few years. Otherwise, they'll be left to rely on a potential upgrade shaking loose after the draft. March 3, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Kentucky linebacker Josh Allen, LB03, goes through workout drills during the 2019 NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mandatory credit: Brian Spurlock, USA Today Sports. Brian Spurlock, Bent, TheJetsBlog.com. Follow on Twitter. Following the scouting combine and the first wave of free agency, the next phase of the offseason is upon us with the pro day schedule well underway. This will give the Jets scouts and coaches an opportunity to see many of this year's top draft prospects work out, and we should also start to hear which players will be working out for or conducting an official visit with the team. Let's evaluate some of the names that have been connected to the Jets so far, and assess where in the draft the Jets might look to target them. August 16, 2018, Landover, MD, USA. New York Jets defensive back Doug Middleton, 36, runs after an interception against the Washington Redskins during the first half at FedEx Field. Mandatory credit: Brad Mills, USA Today Sports. Brad Mills. The Jets are returning two players from last season in Doug Middleton and Noel Ben Braden, as they signed exclusive rights tenders on Friday. Middleton didn't get to play a full season with New York in 2018 after a torn pectoral muscle, ending his year in Week 7. The Jets had Middleton start at safety in place of Marcus May, who was also banged up all throughout the season. The Appalachian State product totaled 27 tackles with 3 passes defended. Braden played in 2 games with the Jets last season, while spending most of his time on the practice squad. He signed a reserve future contract back on Jan. 1, 2018, September 8, 2018, Houston, Texas, USA. Houston Cougars defensive tackle Ed Oliver, 10, in action during the game against the Arizona Wildcats at TDECU Stadium. Mandatory credit: Troy Tormina, USA Today Sports. Troy Tormina. The Giants and Jets are both targeting to improve their defensive front in the NFL Draft next month, and one prospect may have just flew onto their radars: Ed Oliver, a 6'2", 281-pound defensive lineman from the University of Houston, wowed scouts and coaches from all 32 NFL teams at his pro day on Thursday by running his 40-yard dash between 4.71 and 4.73 and a 20-yard short shuttle time of 4.19 seconds, which clocks in faster than Saquon Barkley's 4.24 short shuttle last year. In November 18, 2018, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Indianapolis Colts former quarterback Peyton Manning walks the sidelines before a game against the Tennessee Titans at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mandatory credit: Thomas J. Russo, USA Today Sports. Thomas J. Russo. When Trevor Seaman was deciding whether or not to re-sign with the Vikings or join the Jets, it was future Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning who nudged him toward gangrene. Seaman, who was the third-string quarterback in Denver during Manning's final season in 2015, told NewYorkJets.com that he was texting back and forth with Manning while mulling what to do. It was Manning's praise for Jets new coach Adam Gase that sold Seaman. October 15, 2017, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Jets acting CEO Christopher Johnson on the sidelines before a game against the New England Patriots at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit: Brad Penner, USA Today Sports. Brad Penner, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter. Archive: Phoenix. For a team that went on a wild, free agent spending spree for the second time in 13 months after firing their coach 3 months ago, the Jets have been awfully quiet lately. No controversies. No scandals. Nothing but the business of football, really. And that's just the way they seem to like it, at least for now. January 20, 2019, New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. Los Angeles Rams defensive back Nickel Roby-Coleman, 23, breaks up a pass intended or New Orleans Saints wide receiver Tommy Lee Lewis, 11, during the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game at Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Mandatory credit: Chuck Cook, USA Today Sports. Chuck Cook. The Saints finally get their vindication. The NFL approved a new rule on Tuesday to expand replay review to cover offensive and defensive pass interference, which will apply to both calls and non-calls. The Reviews will be initiated by a coach's challenge with the exception of the last 2 minutes of the half-hour game, in which a replay official will initiate the process. December 30, 2018, Baltimore, Maryland, USA. Baltimore Ravens inside linebacker C.J. Mosley, 57, reacts after sacking Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, not pictured during the second half at M. Mandatory credit, Tommy Gilligan, USA Today Sports. Tommy Gilligan, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Le'Veon Bell may have been the biggest prize in the Jets' free agent frenzy, but he might not have been their most important acquisition. At the very least, linebacker C.J. Mosley was just as important to Adam Gase and the Jets. The new coach raved about his new defensive leader during the NFL coaches' breakfast at the annual owners' meetings on Tuesday morning. The Jets signed Mosley to a 5-year $85 million contract with $51 million in guaranteed money. And Gase still sounded like he couldn't believe his good fortune that the 26-year-old linebacker was available at all. December 9, 2018, Orchard Park, NY, USA. New York Jets co-owner and chairman Christopher Johnson looks on from the field prior to the game against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field. Mandatory credit, Rich Barnes, USA Today Sports. Rich Barnes, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Christopher Johnson refuses to deliver a playoff mandate to his Jets. Mike Maccagnan will only concede his team looks better, on paper. And now Adam Gase has joined the muffled chorus by saying only that his team should be in the conversation in December, for a franchise that gave the world Joe Namath and Rex Ryan. They sure seem to have forgotten that fortune favors the bold. Adam Gase excited for Jets 0 hours 1 minute and 20 seconds. New York Jets head coach Adam Gase comments on the offense with Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell and how tight-knit the defensive staff is. Adam Gase touched on several topics during his media session with reporters in Arizona on Tuesday at the NFL owners' meetings. The new Jets coach discussed realistic playoff expectations, the litany of roster additions and, of course, the Patriots. Here are some of the main takeaways from what Gase said Tuesday. The NFL Shield logo on a football helmet. Adam Hunger, USA Today Sports. Images. With player safety a continued emphasis for the NFL, owners held a pair of votes Tuesday to improve the game in that sense. The kickoff changes implemented last season, which eliminated wedge blocks, disallowed running start and instituted alignment regulation, was voted on and made permanent. According to the NFL, concussions decreased by 38% on kickoffs last year compared to 2015-17. New York Jets general manager Mike Maccagnan looks on prior to the game against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field. Rich Barnes, USA Today Sports. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. As Jets GM Mike Maccagnan sat in a conference room when he spoke to reporters on Monday afternoon, he wasn't standing under a banner that read, "Mission accomplished." He knows he still has work to do to turn the Jets into playoff contenders. But this off-season, Maccagnan made it pretty clear that he did what he set out to do. Darren Lee, 58, mandatory credit, Tim Fuller, USA Today Sports. Tim Fuller, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. As Jets GM Mike Maccagnan sat in a conference room when he spoke to reporters on Monday afternoon, he wasn't standing under a banner that read, "Mission accomplished." He knows he still has work to do to turn the Jets into playoff contenders. But this off-season, Maccagnan made it pretty clear that he did what he set out to do. Maccagnan wants to make moves 0 hours 1 minute and 31 seconds. SNY NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano reports from the NFL owners' meetings, where Jets GM Mike Maccagnan has designs on more draft picks. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Jets GM Mike Maccagnan sounded hopeful a few weeks ago that teams would get so desperate to draft one of the top quarterbacks this year that he could land a windfall and trade for the 3rd overall pick. With 1 month to go until the NFL draft begins, it sounds like that hope is still part of his plan. October 28, 2018, Chicago, Illinois, USA. New York Jets outside linebacker Brandon Copeland, 51, takes a knee moments before the game against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Mandatory credit, Quinn Harris, USA Today Sports. Quinn Harris, The Jets are bringing back a promising piece of their defense from last season. The team announced on Monday that they have resigned linebacker Brandon Copeland. Copeland, 27, had a career year with the Jets last season, recording 5 sacks and 14 quarterback hits in addition to 35 tackles in 16 games. New York Jets acting CEO Christopher Johnson on the sidelines before a game against the New England Patriots at MetLife Stadium. Brad Penner, USA Today Sports. The Jets have been one of the most active teams in the NFL this offseason. Between a coaching change, a few big-name signings in free agency, control of the third overall pick in the NFL draft and heightened expectations, the Jets haven't had this much to look forward to entering a season in quite a while. Owner Christopher Johnson, speaking at the NFL's owners' meetings in Arizona on Sunday, touched on those topics, plus more. Here are the main takeaways from what the Jets owner had to say. August 26, 2017, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Jets acting CEO Christopher Wold Johnson left talks to general manager Mike Maccagnan before a preseason game against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit. Brad Penner, USA Today Sports. Brad Penner, Ralph Bacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive Phoenix. Mike Maccagnan's long rebuilding of the Jets should theoretically be complete now. Maybe not completely complete, as in they're ready to make a run to the Super Bowl. But after 2 years of lavish spending and high draft picks, being a playoff contender shouldn't be unrealistic. Not that Jets CEO Christopher Johnson is going to give Maccagnan a playoff mandate. But surely, the expectations have to be as high as a playoff berth now, right? New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski spikes the ball after a touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles in the third quarter in Super Bowl 52 at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mark J. Rebels, USA Today Sports. For Jets fans, the nightmare of a wide-open Rob Gronkowski streaking down the middle of the field is over. The former Patriots tight end announced his retirement Sunday in a post on his Instagram page. It had been speculated over the last few seasons Gronkowski would step away from the game, given the injuries the 29-year-old endured and the physical toll his massive frame was exposed to throughout a 16-game slate year in year out. Thank you to all of Pats Nation around the world for the incredible support since I have been a part of this first-class organization, he wrote in the lengthy message. Thank you for everyone accepting who I am and the dedication I have put into my work to be the best player I could be. But now it's time to move forward and move forward with a big smile, knowing that the New England Patriots organization, Pats Nation, and all my fans will be truly a big part of my heart for rest of my life. Draft profile, LB Josh Allen 0 hours 0 minutes and 33 seconds. Check out the highlights and the numbers from Kentucky Wildcats linebacker, Josh Allen, heading into the 2019 NFL Draft. The Jets will have a pre-draft meeting with Kentucky pass rusher Josh Allen sometime in the near future, even though GM Mike Maccagnan isn't at his pro day, according to ESPN's Rich Cimini. Allen, who is considered one of the top defensive players in the NFL Draft, also has scheduled visits with the 49ers, Raiders, Giants and Lions, according to NBC Sports' Matt Maiocco. A 6'5", 262-pound linebacker from Montclair, New Jersey, Allen posted impressive numbers at the NFL Combine, running a 4.63-second 40-yard dash, putting up 28 reps on the bench press and recording a 118-inch broad jump. Mike Maccagnan is expected. The Jets have been extremely busy in free agency as the lead into the NFL Draft. And when late April comes around, New York has great position at No. 3 to add another immediate impact player for next season, but with that high draft pick and the Jets already settled in the quarterback department, GM Mike Maccagnan will certainly be listening to phone calls to potentially make a trade to move down. The Jets will likely be looking for a defensive playmaker with that third overall selection, and though players like the Josh Allen and Nick Bosa are in the conversation in the top 3, there are still plenty more elite prospects to choose from. But if all signs point to the Cardinals selecting QB Kyler Murray first overall, the Jets would likely keep that number 3 pick to get either Allen or Bosa. February 28, 2018, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. New York Jets general manager Mike Maccagnan speaks to the media during the 2018 NFL Combine at the Indianapolis Convention Center. Mandatory credit, Trevor Rishkovsky. USA Today Sports. Trevor Rishkovsky, Ralph Bacchiano, Facebook, Twitter. Archive. The Jets have only 6 picks in the upcoming NFL Draft, and with so many holes on their roster, they'll need to use them wisely. It's still early, but here's a look at how those 6 picks could go. First round, no. 3 overall, D.T. Quinnen-Williams, Alabama. August 18, 2018, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Trevor Seaman, 3, calls a play during the second quarter against Jacksonville Jaguars at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mandatory credit, Bryce Hemmelgarn. USA Today Sports. Bryce Hemmelgarn. The Jets have found their backup quarterback as QB. Trevor Seaman signed a 1-year deal with the team, his agent Mike McCartney confirming via Twitter. Seaman's deal has a $2 million base salary that could reach $3 million with incentives. With veteran QB Josh McCown still undecided as to whether he wants to play next season, the Jets brought in an experienced backup for Sam Darnold now in Seaman to fill out the depth chart. Davis Webb, who was acquired off waivers when the Giants cut him last year, is also under contract for the 2019 season. The 27-year-old wanted a change of scenery as the Vikings were interested in bringing him back for another season to sit behind Kirk Cousins. However, he is now joining Game Green and provides the Jets with more than just a serviceable option in case something happens to Darnold. August 26, 2017, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Jets acting CEO Christopher Wold Johnson left talks to general manager Mike Maccagnan before a preseason game against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit, Brad Penner. USA Today Sports. Brad Penner. With their quarterback situation in shambles, the Redskins are sniffing around about trading up in the NFL Draft, reports Jason LaCanfora of NFL.com. LaCanfora speculates that the play for the Redskins could be to trade from No. 15 to get the Jets pick at No. 3 that would allow them to jump ahead of the Giants at No. 6 and snatch Ohio State QB Dwayne Haskins from them, if he is indeed who the Giants are targeting. Aside from the Giants and Redskins as candidates who could try to deal with the Jets for No. 3, LaCanfora mentions the Broncos and Jaguars, but doubts either would do it. December 4, 2017, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell, 26, sits on the bench against the Cincinnati Bengals in the first half at Paul Brown Stadium. Mandatory credit, Aaron Doster. USA Today Sports. Aaron Doster. For the first time in a long time, Le'Veon Bell is truly happy. The new Jets running back, who signed a 4-year, $52.5 million deal with $35 million guaranteed, is ready for a fresh new start in New York while leaving behind some ugly memories in Pittsburgh where he chose to sit out the entire 2019 season. But it was more than just about the money for Bell. While he previously detailed the roller coaster of the last year he had negotiating with the Steelers, the 27-year-old opened up a little more about his experience in Pittsburgh on the field and in the locker room during an interview with Sports Illustrated, particularly how the organization compares with the Jets, from whom he immediately felt a different vibe than he never had with the Steelers. Le'Veon Bell. Charles Leclerc. USA Today Sports. Jets' new RB Le'Veon Bell was under tons of scrutiny last season for holding out from the Steelers, and declining to sign his franchise tag to play in 2018. But that wasn't his initial plan as he headed into the season. In an interview with ESPN's Jeremy Fowler this weekend, Bell said he had every intention to return to Steelers camp during the Week 7 bye. But it looks like Bell actually wanted to return to the team after Week 1 following an exclusive interview with Sports Illustrated. At first I was literally thinking like, I don't want to play camp in Otis because of the hurt in my body and I'm like, I'm not playing. Bell told Sports Illustrated's Jenny Francis. When Week 1 comes, I'm going to come, but the things that kind of led up to Week 1, I starting thinking, I'm not going to play Week 1, after even Week 1, it started to build up and it's not making me feel comfortable. October 21, 2018, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Trevor Seaman, 3, smiles during warm-up before game against New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit, Noah K. Murray. USA Today Sports. Noah K. Murray, while the Jets have been busy this offseason, there are still some areas they must address, such as a backup quarterback to Sam Darnold. While Josh McCown is still undecided on a return for next season, the Jets plan to meet with free agent quarterback Trevor Seaman on Wednesday. SNY's Ralph Vacchiano confirmed. Seaman, 27, spent last season as the backup with the Minnesota Vikings behind Kirk Cousins after he was traded there a year ago by the Broncos. September 10, 2017, Orchard Park, NY, USA. New York Jets tight end Eric Tomlinson, 83, warms up before the game against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field. Mandatory credit, Timothy T. Ludwig. USA Today Sports. Timothy T. Ludwig, with Le'Veon Bell a new centerpiece in the Jets' offense. The organization brought back two familiar faces to strengthen their blocking schemes. Tuesday, New York resigned offensive lineman Brent Cavalli and tight end Eric Tomlinson, who primarily operates as a blocking tight end in the offense. The team also confirmed the signing of tight end Daniel Brown. Tomlinson ended last season on injured reserve after he dropped a weight on his foot. Before that, he made 12 starts and appeared in 15 games, and served as a special teams contributor. He first joined the Jets in 2016 and has played in 36 games total with 16 catches for 193 yards and 1 career touchdown. Chicago Bears tight end Trey Burton celebrates with tight end Daniel Brown after scoring a touchdown against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during the first half at Soldier Field. Kamil Krzyzewski. USA Today Sports. The Jets signed former Bears and Ravens tight end Daniel Brown to a contract, according to his agent. Brown, 26, played in 14 games last season but did not record a completion on offense. He spent most of his time on special teams. Since debuting with Baltimore in 2015, Brown has 35 catches for 317 yards and 1 touchdown. New York Jets quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, 14, prepares to throw the ball against the New England Patriots during the first quarter at MetLife Stadium. Brad Penner. Ryan Fitzpatrick's renaissance behind center will bring him back to the AFC East. The QB signed a 2-year, $11 million deal with Miami on Sunday, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter and other reports. Fitzpatrick quarterbacked the Jets for 2 seasons in 2015 and 2016 before heading to Tampa Bay for 2 years. His new contract, though, gives him the chance to face his old team twice a year. It will be his third go-around in the division. He played 4 seasons in Buffalo. December 30, 2018, Baltimore, Maryland, USA. Baltimore Ravens inside linebacker C.J. Mosley, 57, reacts after sacking Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, not pictured during the second half at M. Mandatory credit, Tommy Gilligan. USA Today Sports. Tommy Gilligan, Bent, TheJetsBlog.com. Follow on Twitter. While the Le'Veon Bell signing received the most attention, the biggest financial outlay for the Jets this offseason was the C.J. Mosley deal. The former Baltimore Ravens linebacker signed a 5-year contract worth up to $85 million. Will it prove to be worth it, though? There's no doubting Mosley's talent, as he's been a Pro Bowler and second-team All-Pro in 4 of his 5 seasons. The Ravens went to the postseason twice in those 5 years, with Mosley anchoring their defense, including an AFC North Division title win in 2018. He has 9 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles, and 5 fumble recoveries in his career, so he should provide some impact plays. The Jets are most likely to employ Mosley as the middle linebacker in Greg Williams' new system. In fact, there's a good chance Williams may have identified Mosley as an ideal central cog to install his scheme around. Ideally, he would have had Anthony Barr as well, but that move obviously fell apart at the 11th hour. Another clue as to how important the Jets saw having a player of Mosley's caliber on the team comes from the size of his contract.